My name is Ethan Clark. I'm 26 years old, and I live in a small town just outside Boston. I work in marketing at a mid-sized tech company, a job that's as dull as it sounds but pays the bills. This is the story I've never told anyone. I call it, My Boss's Wife Hugged Me and Whispered, Don't tell him you were here. It started on an ordinary Thursday evening. I had stayed late to finish a campaign presentation for a client meeting the next day. The office was silent except for the hum of computers and the occasional clatter of my keyboard. Around 8 p.m., I was about to pack up when I heard footsteps behind me. Turning around, I saw Anna, my boss's wife. She wasn't supposed to be here. Our building had strict security. Visitors had to sign in. But there she was, in the dim light, looking fragile and lost. "Ethan," she said softly, her voice trembling. I didn't want anyone else to see me. I froze. The thought that Anna had come here without her husband knowing sent a jolt through me. I barely knew her beyond the occasional polite nods at company events. Yet, in that moment, she seemed like a different person, vulnerable, desperate. "Are you okay?" I asked, standing up. She hesitated, then stepped closer and hugged me tightly. Her warmth was real but brief. Pulling back, she whispered, "Don't tell him you were here, please." I nodded, my heart pounding. She looked around nervously and then said, "Can we talk? Just for a few minutes." I agreed, leading her to a small conference room away from prying eyes. There, she closed the door and sank into a chair. "I'm sorry to drag you into this, Ethan," she said, staring at her hands. "But I needed someone to listen." Her voice cracked. "My husband, he's not who you think he is." I sat down, suddenly caught in a story that wasn't mine but was about to consume me. Anna told me about the cracks in her marriage, things she'd hidden even from her closest friends. The long nights alone, the cold silences, the secret phone calls. She spoke in hushed tones about control, fear, and loneliness. "I've stayed silent because of the children," she said. "But sometimes, I just can't breathe." Her confession was raw and real. I wanted to help but didn't know how. As she left, she looked at me with eyes full of gratitude and something deeper. Fear. Maybe hope. "Thank you for listening. And remember, this stays between us." That night, I lay awake wondering what I'd stepped into. A secret so fragile it could shatter lives. The days after Anna's visit were a strange blur. Every time I saw her at the office, usually brief, stolen moments in the hallway or the kitchen, I felt like I was carrying a secret too heavy for my shoulders. I kept thinking about her words, the pain she barely masked. My boss, Daniel, was well-liked, charismatic, the kind of man people trusted. But Anna's description painted a very different picture. One of a man who could be cold, even cruel behind closed doors. One evening, I was working late again when I got a text from Anna. "Can we meet? I need your help." I debated ignoring it. I told myself it wasn't my place to get involved. But curiosity and something deeper, a strange sense of responsibility, pulled me in. We met at a quiet coffee shop an hour later, rain tapping softly against the windows. Anna looked exhausted, but there was a resolve in her eyes now. "I can't stay there anymore, Ethan," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "I'm scared for myself, for my kids." I nodded. "Have you thought about going to the police? Getting a restraining order?" She shook her head. "It's not that simple. Daniel's powerful, and no one would believe me. He's charming. Everyone loves him." I understood. I've seen how abusers hide behind smiles and respectability. Then she dropped the bombshell. "There's something else. Something I found on his phone last week." My pulse quickened. Anna pulled out her phone and showed me messages. Dark, threatening texts not meant for her, but from Daniel to someone else. Plans, warnings, and ominous references I didn't understand at first. "Who is he talking to?" I asked. Anna hesitated. "I don't know, but I'm scared, Ethan. I think he's involved in something dangerous." My mind raced. I worked in marketing, not crime novels, but I couldn't turn away. Suddenly, Anna's hands trembled as she gripped her coffee cup. "I don't know who to trust," she whispered. "I thought Daniel was the man I married. But now, I'm afraid he might hurt us all. That night, I barely slept. A storm was building, and somehow I was at the eye of it. The next day at work, Daniel acted like nothing was wrong, smiling, joking. But when our eyes met, I saw a flicker of suspicion. Was he onto Anna's secret? Was I next? The office felt different after that day, as if an invisible line had been drawn, separating me from the easy camaraderie I once had with Daniel and everyone else. His usual warmth had turned icy, his smiles sharper, more calculated. I kept my distance, but Anna's situation haunted me. I wanted to do something, anything, but felt powerless. Then one late afternoon, I saw Anna again. She looked desperate, like she'd run out of places to hide. "I need you to come with me," she said urgently, eyes wide and trembling. Without asking questions, I followed her to a quiet neighborhood a few miles away. She knocked on the door of a modest house. A man answered, kind-faced but wary. Anna introduced me. "This is Mark," she said. "He's a friend who can help." Inside, Mark explained that Anna needed a safe place away from Daniel. They were planning to file a legal complaint, but until then, Anna and her children had to be protected. I offered to help drive, run errands, anything. It felt right, like I was finally stepping into the story, no longer a bystander. But then came the unexpected twist. That night, when I returned to my apartment, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Stop helping her, or you'll regret it." My blood ran cold. I realized then the danger wasn't just about Anna. It had dragged me into a world of secrets and threats far beyond anything I'd imagined. Over the next few days, the tension mounted. I caught glimpses of Daniel watching me, silent and calculating. I started getting subtle warnings at work, calls that went unanswered, a sudden error in a report I hadn't made, files disappearing from my computer. I was terrified, but I couldn't stop now, not after Anna's courage, her trust. Then, in a quiet moment, Anna confided something that broke me. "I'm afraid of what Daniel might do next," she said, tears spilling down her cheeks. "But I can't live in fear anymore." Her strength, despite everything, was humbling. We decided to take the next step, contact a lawyer, gather evidence. I promised her I'd be there no matter what, but that promise came with a price. One evening, as I was leaving the office, Daniel confronted me. His smile was cold, eyes dark. "Ethan," he said smoothly, "I know what you've been up to. You're playing a dangerous game." My heart pounded. He leaned closer, voice low and threatening. "Walk away, for your own good." I looked him in the eye and said, "Not this time." Daniel's words stayed with me long after he walked away, echoing in the empty parking lot like a warning I couldn't ignore. Part of me wanted to give in, to back out before I got hurt. But the other part, the one that had listened to Anna's trembling voice and seen her silent tears, knew I couldn't. The next few days were a blur of quiet strategy. Anna, Mark, and I met in secret, compiling every piece of evidence we could, screenshots, recorded voicemails, copies of documents. Each time we met, I felt the noose tightening. Then came the night everything snapped. I had just left Mark's house after dropping off some files when I noticed headlights in my rearview mirror. They stayed behind me turn after turn. I tried to shake them, taking side streets, but they kept following. Finally, I pulled into an empty gas station. The other car stopped too, across the lot. A man got out, not Daniel, but someone I didn't recognize. Big, broad shoulders. He walked up to my car window, leaned down, and in a low, steady voice said, "You don't know what you're getting into. Back out now or you'll disappear." Then he walked away, got into his car, and drove off. I sat there for a long moment, gripping the steering wheel, my breath shaky. Fear crawled through me like ice, but so did something else. Anger. By the next morning, I'd made my decision. Anna deserved her freedom. Her kids deserved safety. And I deserved to live without wondering if I'd done enough when I had the chance. We handed everything to the lawyer, who in turn brought in the authorities. It wasn't quick and it wasn't clean. Daniel was confronted, furious, and tried to paint Anna as unstable, me as some meddling employee obsessed with his wife. But the evidence was too strong. Eventually, he was forced to step down from his position and face charges. The day Anna called me to say she and her children were finally safe, her voice carried a kind of peace I'd never heard from her before. "This is because you didn't walk away," she said. I didn't know how to respond. After everything, I left the company. My career could start over. But some moments in life are too heavy to forget. And now, when I think back, I realize something important. Something I didn't understand until I lived it. Sometimes the most dangerous battles aren't the ones fought in war zones or boardrooms. They're the ones fought in quiet kitchens, behind closed doors, in the moments when no one is watching. Courage isn't loud. It's the decision to stay when fear tells you to run. And love, whether romantic, platonic, or simply human, means carrying someone else's burden, even when it could break you. That's the story I've never told anyone. And now I guess I finally have.